what's happened in the last video.
Oh. Hi. You're dead.
And here is more MrDudeManSir.
This is getting spicy. I love a good spice in the morning. When he steps out of the cabin's front door, Kyoji shivers at the cold of the dawn forest. The freezing wind sweeping across the front yard is like knives against his skin. He can't believe that the outside air is even colder than the mud at the bottom of the well. The cold of night must have been lessened by the stagnant air filling up the cramped space. If he'd been exposed to this intense chill all night long, he would have surely have frozen to death. Kyoji finds two cars parked at the end of the road leading to the front yard. The mini car next to his Accord must be Ryoko's. This car goes up to 180 miles an hour. That's a good car for 2003, I think. I don't know. I'm not a 2003 car enthusiast. When he sits behind the wheel of his car, he gets some relief from feeling that he has been taking his first step, however small, back into his world. He takes small sips of the sports drink, wetting his parched throat, then washes down some Jell-O. His stomach rebels at the sudden influx of food after 36 hours of emptiness, but he managed to force down the urge to vomit. Kyoji needs the energy, no matter how hard it is. He must regain enough stamina to overcome the challenges ahead. After forcing down the unnecessary amount of food, Kyoji leans back in his seat and takes a short break. Now that he has begun to feel like himself again, he reaches into the back seat and pulls his spare cell phone out of his bag. He never expected that accidentally carrying two phones would be such a stroke of luck. As he calls up Fuminori's number and prepares to hit send, Kyoji is overcome by a flood of emotions. Rage, despair, sorrow, pity. He is unable to decide what to feel towards his friend. However, there is no time for such idle worries. Every second lost diminishes the chance of saving Omi and Yo. Kyoji refuses to even consider that it may already be too late. You know, you should not call Fuminori. He thinks you're dead, so if you keep it that way, he will be completely surprised when you pull the trigger on his face hole. I hope anyways. But it looks like he's calling them, according to the cellular device noise in the background. He steels himself and presses the button, then holds the phone to his ear as it rings longer and louder than ever before. Right now, Fuminori's phone must be displaying the name of the caller. Kyoji wonders what Fuminori's reaction will be when he sees it. Dots. Yes? Hello? The call goes through though. Perfect. Kyoji can clearly sense surprise, apprehension, and dark fury coming towards the silence at the other end of the phone. Feeling slightly gratified, Kyoji delivers the first jab. Yo. What, you weren't expecting a call from a dead man? What a surprise. How did you manage it? As Kyoji is about to answer, an idea suddenly flashes through his mind. There was a secret passage in the well, Kyoji says as a plan forms rapidly in his head. It led to a hidden underground room. He paused to let that sink in. Then, with the satisfaction of having taken the initiative filling his voice, says, I met Ogai Masahiko, you know. Fuminori's gasp made it clear that Kyoji was seized the advantage completely. Keeping his voice fearless, he decides to further exaggerate the truth. I know it all. Everything about Saya. You're finished, Fuminori. I've got all the proof I need to blow this thing wide open. You won't even see it coming. You. It's obvious from the sound of Fuminori's voice that rage has overwhelmed his reason. Kyoji's hit-or-miss bluff appeared to have worked perfectly. His victory is tainted, however, as Fuminori's extreme response to the word Saya brings a cry of pain from the traces of friendship still hiding in the depths of his soul. As Saisaka-kun has completely become deeply involved with whatever Saya is, Ryoko's cold words play back in his head, sounding even more pitiless than before. Then he's already past the point of no return. He mustn't allow himself to be overwhelmed by the useless emotions. Fuminori, where are Omi and Tsukaba? Kyoji suddenly switches topics, trying to keep Fuminori off balance. It all comes down to this. Even I might be willing to show you mercy depending on how you act, that is. I like how there's ... question mark? As if he asked the question with the silence. If you swear not to cause any more suffering, I'll forget about what you did to me. About what I found at the cabin. I don't want to have anything more to do with you and Saya anyway. All I want is for Omi and Yo to be safe. Omi's dead and Yo is some sort of dog creature. You are going to have to kill him. Omi and Yo, huh? Fuminori's voice trails off, but it's obvious that he's desperately trying to decide whether or not he can trust Kyoji's words, and whether or not there's a room for negotiation. Fuminori has been called out, and now it's time for him to show his hand. I truly don't know anything about Omi. She never came to my house. Yo, however. Fuminori pauses, then gives a knowing chuckle that sends chills up Kyoji's spine. Well, I wonder if she'll really want to leave. She's with you, isn't she? Kyoji is relieved to learn Yo's location and that she is alive, at least. At the same time, however, it is now clear that Fuminori had something to do with the suffering that Kyoji had heard Yo going through over the phone. Had Yo already fallen into Fuminori's trap back then? What has happened to her? How is she being treated? Well, depending on your morals, I guess she's being treated decently well or terrible. Depending on your morals, of course. She's finally the deepest desire granted, you know. Fuminori says with venomous sarcasm. She's my property now. The weird why change. It all looks like you and Omi got what you wanted after all. Kyoji feels despair settling over his soul. How much lower will this man go? Kyoji wonders, must Fuminori seek out and destroy every memory of the friendship they once had shared? Let Sukama go. When I'm sure she's safe, I'll destroy everything I have on you and Saya. How can I trust you? First, I want you to... I'm not giving you any choice here, Fuminori. Kyoji instinctively realized that it's dangerous to push his bluff any further. I'll call you again later. You have until then to make up your mind. Yes! Yes, yes, yes! Yes! We have our trap card activated. Fuminori's going down! So Saya! It's gonna be great! I am happy, man. Perfect! He hangs up without waiting for a response. Fuminori doesn't know that Kyoji is still at the cabin in Tochigi. Right now he's probably worrying about whether Kyoji will show up in an hour or a minute. Kyoji hopes that he'll be able to take advantage of Fuminori's confusion. 3 hours. That's how long it'll take to race all the way back to Tokyo. Kyoji's afraid that his body won't allow him to maintain the concentration necessary for such a long drive. His mind is clear, but his limbs still feel half asleep, like they're weighted down with lead. Although he knows that he has to stay resolute, Kyoji still longs for the life that he had until a few days ago. Back then, life or death conflicts were the furthest thing from his mind, and he never imagined that he might be fighting for someone's life. With each passing moment, he feels himself becoming less like the person he was. When all of this is over, will he be able to return back to his normal life? Or will this change continue until everything is consumed from this world? Time is against him. Every second that passes is wasted. Even so, he decides to allow himself just 5 minutes of weakness. For exactly 5 minutes, he leans against the steering wheel and cries. And when his tears have run dry and his heart is calm, Kyoji stunts up his accord and drives away. Well, it's a battle of wits all now. And I don't feel Fuminori has any wits whatsoever. I feel like this is sort of like a Death Note, but really weird. Like, that one guy I was just talking to, I don't remember his name. That guy's L, Fuminori's light. This is a really big battle, but I feel that Fuminori is, like, dumb. I don't think he can do it. I don't feel he has the knowledge to actually stop Mr. whatever his name is. But I stare at the silent phone for a while. Oh, and also, Saya is Misa. Of course, it has to be. All the way. There is anger, of course, but something cold and heavy holds my emotions in check. The sense of danger, to be honest, I'm surprised at how calmly I'm handling this. Oh my gosh. Was that an entire call with? Oh my gosh! Oh, oh my. I'm done. I'm getting up. I'm leaving. Goodbye. I still have a sensation to leave right now, but I guess I have to come back and I have to do this thing called playing a video game for YouTube purposes. So there is Master on the screen. I'm going to click it and I'm probably just going to see her looking apprehensively and stuff, and yep, okay, it's just this all over. Gosh darn it! I'm holding. There we go. Let's go back in time. Let's go back. Go back, please. Where was I? Okay, right now Kyoji's like a poison in a reservoir. No matter what, it would be possible to filter all the poison out of the water. What should one do in this situation? The answer is obvious. Stop drinking the water. The only choice is to find a new place to drink and start a new life. Fuminori? Who are you talking to? Saya returns from the kitchen, where she'd gone in search of a midnight snack. She's munching on her favorite spare ribs. Wow, that's very gourmet. Purging myself of unease and impatience, I respond with a casual shrug. Casual shrugging is where this ends. Cool! It looks like we have a little trouble. That Kyoji is still alive out there. Oh dear. Oh. By breaking the news suddenly, without any trace of anxiety, I am able to avoid frightening Saya or putting her on edge. Instead, she goes straight to being surprised. Saya, it might be best if we leave this house right now. I see. Saya lowers her eyes and strokes her chin thoughtfully. Despite the severity of the situation, of which Saya is no doubt fully aware, she has gone straight to the planning stage without wasting time getting upset. I knew that remaining calm would work. Moreover, I'm currently getting... Why? I don't understand. I can't. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Either way, this area will have gotten dangerous once people realize that Suzumi-san's family had disappeared, and I think this day will come sooner or later. Yeah, Saya nods. I can tell that she's reluctant to leave, but at least there is no sadness in her expression. Everything will be fine. In this way, I will continue to protect my life, Saya. I have that power. Knowing that we've overcome one problem gives me new confidence. By the way, Saya... Please don't tell me. No. Oh my god. I'm done. I'm done. Oh my gosh. Why? It's so good. Fuminori has to ruin it with his constant harem. How? I don't even understand. How does he keep this up? Every moment of every day, he's just doing this. During phone calls, during random conversations, when he eats. I just need to have a moment of reconciliation and need to recompile my thoughts right now. When these things first started, I was like, okay, there's a reason for them. It's just either to creep you out, because this game is supposed to be super creepy. So I was like, okay, I feel uneasy. Good. Game's doing what it's meant to do. I also try picking out little pieces of story, and then after seeing them every 5 seconds, or every single scene with Fuminori in them constantly, I have realized that the scenes are just shoehorned in there to appease every fetish of a man that wants to watch a serious horror game every now and again. I was immersed in this game, And then they just say, oh yeah, it hasn't had this hentai scene in a while, let's throw it in there. Oh, but we forgot about this in serious part. Okay, let's have the hentai scene while they're talking. How about that? How about them apples? Oh my gosh, we're gonna borrow the Susan family car. I'm bad withdraw everything that's left in my bank account and carry it as cash. I'll also need a weapon more reliable than a butcher's knife. Kyoji will most likely follow. He still thinks that Yo can be saved after all. However, I'm not abandoning this house just to run away. Now that Kyoji knows our location, staying in one place will put us on the defensive. I'm not about to do something so foolish. I need to find a way to gain my initiative and deal with Koji. I place my chosen. The next time we meet, I'll kill him with my own hands. I'll make sure to wring every last drop of life out of his body and then probably eat him, because that's what I do. A shiver runs through me as I anticipate the battle ahead, and my bloodlust feels like an orgasmic fire filling my... Those analogies, or similes, or metaphors, whatever it is, I think it was a simile. When she looks up, the morning sun is already streaming through the window. Tired from hours of poring over the files, Ryoko removes her glasses and massages her aching eyes. Her dreams are always filled with horror, and the night she just spent was more like a nightmare than them all. And it's not over yet. She has only just set foot in the threshold. As expected, the files left behind Ogai and Masahiko were not the sort that Ryoko could simply pick up and read. Fortunately, Ogai had been too old-fashioned to put his trust in electronic media. If it encrypted his files on a computer, she had been to find a hacker to decipher them. Apparently, however, Ogai had not wanted to take the time necessary to write every sentence in his code. The method he had chosen was, in fact, quite simple. Of the vast number of files Ryoko had found in this underground lab, the majority turned out to be notes and theses from Ogai's days as a student. The important papers were diaries and research notes that had been scattered throughout the piles and piles of worthless scrap. At first, she was unable to understand the documents that she had found. Each sheet was covered with text on one side and blank on the other. Each line was completely unrelated to the next, making it impossible to glean any meaning from the paper as a whole. The trick revealed itself, however. While she was sorting the pages that made no sense, she found that each line continued the same line of a different page. In Ogai's diary, for example, the first day would begin at the first line, then continue not with the next line, but with the first line on the next page. Similarly, the second day on the second line, the third day on the third line, and so on and so forth. After filling the lines on one set of pages, Ogai had torn them out and hidden them by scattering them along his other files. There was no regularity to how the pages were numbered, of course. There was probably a random number of lists somewhere. But unable to find it, Ryoko had no choice but to figure out the page order manually. Despite knowing what the task would be exhausting, Ryoko said it valiantly. After separating all of the loose leaf sheets from the jumbled files, she began the painstaking process of linking the pages together according to the contents in the first line. Ogai had apparently dismantled and scattered his diary after finishing a number of days equal to the lines on one page. And had done... whoa. This man, whatever he's trying to do to confuse people, it is working. Quite a lot. The diary was much easier to restore because the entries varied in length, later pages in a large number of blank lines. The page with only one line, therefore, was the last page of the diary, and those with the most blank spaces would be considered the closest to the end. Ryoko's perseverance had paid off, for she had already succeeded in restoring the several volumes of Ogai's diary. As she rereads them, she feels despair draining her spirit, as so many times before. This cursed feeling of powerlessness that comes with the showing of hidden truths, those who have tasted it once shall be beaten down by it again and again until the day they die. All secrets are connected, after all. Once you have glimpsed even the tiniest fraction of the world's true horrifying face, you have no choice but to watch in terror as the veil continues to roll back inch by inch. All that is left is to wait for the day when insanity will crush your reason under its ever-increasing weight. I have succeeded in communicating with the organism. It shows enormous curiosity, and its intelligence beyond doubt. She separates files for confirmed voice patterns and body language. His appetite for knowledge is insatiable, and his learning efficiency off its charts. However, he exhibits absolutely no desire to be recognized as an individual. His ego appears to be quite weak. His psyche is clearly different from humans. His ability to learn languages is astounding. No, perhaps I should say, ability to develop communication. When I laughed at his mispronunciations, he immediately picked up the concept of puns. Ever since, he has been employing his entire vocabulary in an attempt to find puns that will make me laugh. Perhaps in a few days' time we will have learned enough language for us to communicate freely. We have begun to discuss various matters using human language. Although he continuously barrages me with questions, he is unable to answer any of mine. Judging by his responses, it appears that he only regained awareness after materializing in this universe. He has no knowledge of where he came from. While I am disappointed, the fact that he has reached his level of intelligence only 1 week after starting to think tells me that there is no end to what I can learn from him. Hypothesis: he is not a naturally occurring organism, but was created by an even more sophisticated sentient life form, like an artificial intelligence perhaps. If this is true, it would explain why he has no ego, yet possesses such a hunger for knowledge. He might be some sort of reconnaissance robot that is sent from another world. You know, that sounds basically like Saya, because, well, the whole knowledge from Fuminori deal, you can fill in the blanks there. For the nth time since she started reading, Ryoko smiles humorlessly. How wonderful it would be if she were ignorant enough to laugh the diary off as the delusions of a madman or the work of a science fiction writer. Unfortunately, however, she knows far too much. Oh, whoa! That was bad clicking on my... Oh my gosh. No, no, no. Please, how do I do this? Right click. Right click. That... Whoa, I'm doing things wrong. What I'm... Oh, there we go. Let's just go back here. I have some things I need to read. Right about here. When she thinks back to the many horrors that Ogai brought into life, the words before her take on a chilling credibility. I have confirmed that his intellect far surpasses any humans. This morning, I taught him about the prime numbers. After explaining the Lucas-Lambert test for Mersenne primes, he immediately began to list the examples that he had calculated in his head. I was only able to confirm by memory up to number 10, Mate 89? M89, but he continued his list further examples without any trouble. I left him to calculations, and when I returned a few hours later, I discovered that he had written down more than 70 of them. Computers all over the world are currently working to calculate Mersenne primes, but the last one I remember being found was number 39, back in 2011. This guy is insanely smart. Wow. He's like... Oh man, he's like that one ape from Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. He's so smart he can like, bring down humanity. When I entered several of his results into my laptop and ran a Lucas number test on them, I found that everyone was correct. The rest are no doubt just as accurate. After all, he was never shown the pathological need for respect that would lead him to tell such a lie. I see no reason to doubt his veracity. If I could reveal to the world my process for discovering these Mersenne primes, the prize money alone would make me a billionaire. It goes without saying, however, that keeping my research secret is far more important than such worthless money. His computational abilities exceed even those of computers. I can only conclude that this cognitive power is beyond anything humanity can imagine. At his request, we have begun a new field of study. Despite his immeasurable aptitude for mathematics, He now desires to concentrate on sociology and the neutral sciences. Perhaps our math problems are simply too boring for him. He has shown especially keen interest in how organisms reproduce and multiply, and he possesses nothing that could be called emotion. I hesitate to use this description, but when he learned about DNA, he seemed somehow excited. So here's a thought. Either Fuminori is a specific man, which doesn't make too much sense, or Saya was a man, or is a man. Very weird. I don't know how I feel about this conclusion, but it's a thing. It's a thing, alright. It's a conclusion. It's valid. In fact, even he seemed surprised by its reaction. Unable to understand his own impulse, he decided to label it instinct. If this description is his own words, then this development is extremely interesting. It would mean that there is a deeper level to his psyche than just the knowledge that is acquired since coming to this world. If I can use this discovery to trace his roots, I might be able to relearn what he truly is. Note, candidates for this plane and world of this origin are discussed in regarding the silver key, filed separately. I spent the whole day carrying books into his room. Apparently he is no longer satisfied by the knowledge I am able to impart. It should come as no surprise considering his linguistic prowess, but the speed at which he consumes text is astounding. The diary continues for some time, chronicling the intimate relationship between... In the back of her mind, Ryoko imagines the old professor climbing down the well in the middle of the night to hold congress with some inhuman creature in a bizarre laboratory. The image is disturbingly similar in the nightmares that have plagued Ryoko's dreams and shattered the silence of many nights in her screams. What follows, whoever makes the worst nightmares pale in comparison. He has made a very strange request. This is the first time he has wanted anything other than food and reading materials. I can hardly believe it, but he wants to consume... This is separate from the desire for food. Once again, he is describing the impulse as instinctive. Not that he has declared himself as a life form and needs the okay. He has begun to consider himself as a female. Starting tomorrow, I will suppose I will have to start calling him an organism a she. Is the personality that she is exhibiting really just an imitation trait for her amusement? Ever since she started to immerse herself in human culture, the literature she had been acting surprisingly human. She recognizes herself as female and already possesses the enormous amount of knowledge. Is she trying to create a human identity for herself based on these? I have seen her laugh, grow angry, and today she cried. Is she just copying our emotional displays? If not, then she was already... Is the soul something that any intelligent life form can acquire? I feel that I am witnessing something even more mysterious than the secret of life. Today is her birthday. Although it is a year late, I want to give her a heartfelt gift. Saya is the name of my mother's cat. In my childhood, she was my sole friend and beloved. I decided long ago that if I were ever to be blessed with children, I will give that name to my daughter. Happy birthday, Saya. Let this be the name of your soul. You have earned it. The ability that Saya has discovered in herself is showing more extraordinary results each day. I have no doubt that she is some kind of artist. What exactly is that she created in her body from the rat's semen I gave her? At this point, I can only surmise that it is the type of retrovirus, a reverse transcriptase enzyme that creates exactly what she desires. The rats, or rather the creatures that were once rats, that have been transformed by her art, are so very beautiful. The many enzymes secreted by her body and the various appendages she uses are discussed in detail in my biological observations. Filled separately, here, I will say this. By witnessing Saya perform her operations on several rats, I have gained much confidence in my theory that her body is designed specifically to manipulate the biology of other organisms. Ryoko looks grimly at the still unsorted mountain of research reports. When she finally manages to separate those papers, she will probably find the many other files mentioned in the diary. Oga's biological observations, at the end at least, she wants to look through those before facing the thing called Saya. Under no circumstances does she want to go into the battle unprepared. She looks at her watch and sees that it's 7 AM. Assuming Tono Kyoji drove without making any stops, he would arrive at Tokyo about now. Now that it's too late, she wishes that he'd stopped. The stubborn young man from leaving, even if she just had to shoot him in the leg.